Hi, I'm Bill Patalon. I'm the executive editor here at Money Morning, and I'm here to tell you a story.
Stock Talks with Bill Patalon. Why I love GE.
So back in the 1990s, I was working as a reporter for Gannett Company in Rochester, New York, and my beat was Eastman Kodak Company. At the time, you guys probably are familiar. You probably remember Kodak, this iconic brand. You know, if you're old enough, it was part of every holiday. Part of your vacations. The yellow box. It was this iconic brand. It was part of Americana. But by the middle of the 1990s, this was a company that was in deep trouble. They were under fire from Fuji, their Japanese competitor. Digital technology was threatening to cannibalize their core business, which had these huge margins. And this company just didn't know what to do. They had this stultifying culture. They weren't able to get products to market fast enough. Innovation just seemed to die on the vine. So they finally decided to do what all great American companies do when they get in trouble. They fire the CEO. But in this case, Kodak made a really good choice. They hired this guy named George Fisher, who was this whiz kid from Motorola. He had turned Motorola from a radio company, a company that was known for making military radios and other gizmos like that, into the leading cell phone company in the world. And Fisher was on a mission to turn Kodak into an innovative, cutting edge, digital company that was going to take no prisoners, recapture its market share, and recapture its glory days. And my first assignment was to do a big profile, a big interview with Fisher to kind of tell everybody in Rochester, where they had 60,000 employees, and everybody in the world, everybody in the investment community, everybody up on Wall Street, who this guy was. So in the course of my reporting, I find out that Fisher and Jack Welch, the CEO of General Electric, had done one of those executive growth things at I think it was at Harvard Business School. So they knew each other. And when you do a profile like this, you want to get lots of voices in the story, kind of lots of input, lots of points of view. And I wanted to talk to Jack Welch. So I called GE. I get on the phone, call GE's headquarters, and I get one of their PR guys on the phone and say, "Hey, I'm Bill Patalon. I work for Gannett in Rochester, and I want to talk to Jack Welch." Well, the PR guy thought I was told a pretty funny joke. "You're never going to talk to Jack. You're not part of our stakeholder group. You're not in our readership area. You're not part of our audience. So you're not going to get to talk to Jack." I said, "Well, do me a favor, put in the request. Just ask." He said, "Okay, but not going to happen. I can tell you that right now." I said, "Okay, whatever." So one day, sitting there, it's just past deadline, filed my stuff, sent my stories in, getting ready to leave for school, and the phone rings. It's 5 o'clock, end of the day. I'm literally walking out the door. And I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to ignore it. It'll go to voicemail, figure out who it is tomorrow. But something told me I better answer the phone. So I picked it up. Well, it's this guy from GE, the guy who just a couple weeks ago told me that it was a big joke that I was going to I was asking to talk to the head honcho there. And he said, "Oh, Bill, it's so-and-so from GE. So you still want to interview Jack Welch?" I said, "Yeah, sure, that'd be awesome. Still working on my story." He goes, I said, when can you set it up? Let me know. He goes, "Well, how about right now?" I said, "Okay." I mean, you're kind of scrambling, thinking, I got to get my notes together, I got to get my questions together, and the next thing you know, I've got Jack Welch, Neutron Jack, legendary CEO on the phone, and I was impressed. I mean, I read about this guy. I read his accomplishments. I mean, he got his nickname Neutron Jack from cutting lots of people but leaving the businesses standing. Kind of an old joke about the neutron bomb. But he's a great CEO, and he made a big difference. He made a pile of money for investors, and that was what put GE on my radar screen for the first time. And as I said, I was going to business school at the time. And not long after that, I read this. It was this terrific Business Week cover story about GE and about all the little bets that the company was making all around the world. $10 million on power generation in South America, $20 million on medical imaging equipment in China. $10 million on this business in Eastern Europe. Separately, none of these bets are going to bankrupt the company, but Welch knows that one of these or two of these or three of these are going to pay off and pay off big. And that impressed me too. So in the last class in my MBA program at RIT, I had to pick a company and kind of really drill down and look at this thing and do an investment report, decide whether the stock was a buy or a sell, how much money you could make. So I chose GE. As I drilled into this, I realized this is really a great company. This is a great stock. And at the time, I'd owned a lot of Gannett stock that I'd bought through the payroll savings plan at work. I dumped all of it, put all the money in GE, tripled my money, and that's what we used to put the down payment on our house a couple of years later. So let's fast forward to the financial crisis of 2008, 2009. GE is a company in trouble. Their financial services businesses got clipped by the whole credit default swap disaster. They were having trouble borrowing. They had to cut their dividend. They were looking at having to change the way they were doing business. They came within a couple of days of kind of locking up financially, and people just gave up on the company. But I knew differently. I knew that this was a company that was going to make a comeback. GE is the only original Dow stock that's still a member of the Dow 30 Industrial Group. And this is a company that has come back time and time and time again. And I knew it would do it again. So let's fast forward to today. A lot of folks have said, this company is an industrial company. It's boring. It's not a growth stock. It's not sexy like biotech. It's not cool like driverless cars. It doesn't have anything to do with the internet. It's just, kind of a humdrum, Rust Belt stock. Not true. This is why I think GE is going to be such a big moneymaker going forward, and why I think it's a massively overlooked stock. And it's one word, and I want you to remember this. The word is Predix. Predix is kind of this kind of super internet software that GE has developed. Matter of fact, GE has positioned itself and has stated that they're going to be one of the top 10 software companies in America in just a few years, and they're going to make that happen. You read a lot about things like the Internet of Things or this future with 50 billion connected devices. You're gonna have sensors in your shirt, in your running shoes, in the aircraft engine of the flight that you take, to Las Vegas on your vacation, on locomotives that you watch pulling freight cars down on that track next to the highway, the machinery on the factory floor, but all these devices create data, information, but that information is only useful if it can be kind of packaged in a way that it can be looked at and studied and analyzed and cataloged and stored and pulled back up later and compared to other information. And Predix is the software that's going to make that happen. This is going to be the backbone of the super internet, what I call it, the industrial internet, the internet that companies are going to use, not the internet you use to search for football scores or for DraftKings or any of that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the internet that companies are using to run their businesses. GE recently bought the power generation business of Francis Alstom, and after they bought that, and I want you to listen to this. GE right now accounts for 1/3 of all the power generating capacity in the world. 1/3. I mean, talk about companies that are dominating a market. But so you have these power generation, these turbines and the grids that generate power and all the systems that deliver it. Predix is going to allow the folks that run that grid to watch how it's doing, to see if it's running at capacity, to see if there's a problem. It can even be used to predict when a problem is going to happen. So this is a product that not only is GE going to use this. Every industrial company is going to need this. I mean, I saw just recently that BP is adopted Predix to monitor its offshore drilling platform. I mean, we all remember what happened with Deepwater Horizon a few years ago. Just think if they'd had Predix, if they knew that something was going to go wrong, and were able to take steps before that problem happened. That's how powerful this kind of super software, this super internet backbone is going to be. So we've been talking about strategies here, so let's talk now about an investment strategy. I call it the accumulate strategy because this is a stock you want to own. Buy a block of this stock. So you're in the stock. You're making money if it goes up. But if the stock were to pull back, if there's a sell-off, look to buy more. Position yourself and think about this as like anytime this stock sells off, I have a few extra bucks. I'm going to throw it in GE. I'm telling you, this is a stock that's going to make you a lot of money over the long term. Buy the stock, you add to it on pullbacks, and give me a call in 5 years. You'll be happy you did.
To hear more stories like this from Bill Patalon, click here.